I'm first. Well, we're here to welcome everybody to Nashville, and especially President Jimmy Carter and Miss Rosalynn. My husband and I, happy to be here. And we've not done a press conference before, so, I mean, we've done a press conference before, but not a habitat. So I'm going to turn it over to you.
Yeah, man, it's just it's cool to see people coming into this town. They're coming into the city of love. And so of all the habitat builds that we've been fortunate enough to be on, this is our favorite one already because we're going to be sleeping in our own bed at the end of this, which is great. And it's just always an honor to get to learn. And so what today, I think the first thing I learned was our house builder, Kurt, is that his name? The house leader said everything's based on love. And that is, I like the thing he said. He said the Titanic had thousands of architects and all these scientists and everything, and the Ark had one builder that was fully inspired. And that kind of caught me off guard, kind of set the tone for the day. And so it's a beautiful thing to get to be a part of this. It is my job to introduce these two on the left. I think the appropriate title is the President and First Lady, but I got to say, after sitting side by side and building with them, there is even a greater title, and that is just lead by example, the kind of people you want to be. But ladies and gentlemen, the President and First Lady, the Carters.
All right. Thank you, Garth. Well, as I said last night, Garth and Tricia are our two best volunteers, and we've had 103,000 volunteers working with us on our 36 years of habitat work. And this is something we've been looking forward to for a long time, to come to Tricia and Garth's hometown, for temporarily at least, and to be with them again. They've been with us, I think this is their 11th time that they've been on the project with us, and it's always easier for the rest of us to work when Tricia and Garth are volunteering, because they do all the heavy lifting and the hard work. Well, the one point I want to make this morning is that these habitat homeowners are very fortunate, but they don't get anything free. They have to put in 100 hours of hard work on their own while we're here, and they also have to put in some hard hours of work getting the site prepared for us. They have to pay full price for their house, and they have reasonable terms on their mortgages, but they pay off usually in 20 years. Is that still the case?
20 or 30, depending on the cost.
20 to 30 years, depending on, so they don't get overloaded, depending on what their income is. So this is a very wonderful thing for all of us to come and participate. And Rose and I have done this, as I said earlier, 35 times before this year, and we've always gotten more out of it, habitat work than we put into it. We've been to a lot of countries in the world. We've been to all over the United States, and we have really enjoyed it. And I don't think we've ever left a site without tears in our eyes, at least sometimes during the week. We weep with the homeowners when they weep for joy, getting a Bible and getting the key to their house. And so it's a wonderful thing for us, and we are just really grateful for all the volunteers that have joined us in Nashville today. It's nice to come to the city of love after loving each other for 73 and a half years, right, Rosen? Almost 73 and a half years. So we not only got old, but we've gotten old in our marriage, but it's still full of love. Thank you all very much. And now my wife, Rosen, the real boss of the outfit.
That's saying something to me, to be the real boss. Jonathan is the real boss, and he's done a great job, and we're happy to be here in Nashville. The Nashville Habitat has done a great job getting ready for us, and it makes a lot of difference when you go into a community to build, whether or not they've done a really good job, and this has been one of the best. We're happy to be here, happy to be with Trish and Garth. We've gotten to know them and love them over the years, and can't wait to see them every year. And just it's just a special week, and so pleased to be with other people who just want to do something to help someone else. It's just, as I said last night, it's the week I look forward to more than any other in the year. Just grateful for all of you, all the volunteers, and glad again to be in Nashville.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Tricia and Garth. We're so grateful. President and Mrs. Carter have just set such an extraordinary example now since 1984. There are two broadly held myths that turn out to be not to be true. One, that we give away houses, which President Carter already addressed. The second is that most people think President and Mrs. Carter both started and run Habitat, which turns out not to be true. But there's no question that they put it on the map. And back in 1984, when they came up to New York City to rehab a tenement building, that's when the world found out about Habitat for Humanity and the ripples of impact and all the volunteers that have been inspired and leaders raised up around the world that have now led to over 22 million people having new or improved homes, and ties back so much to our most famous volunteers. We are thrilled that we are going to be partnering with 21 families this week, and there'll be a total an additional 38 families who will get homes because of the funds raised by this week. So we are thrilled for every parent and every child who will move into these homes and look forward to new beginnings. This city is experiencing incredible growth, which is wonderfully exciting, but there is a cost to that. And Nashville's been identified as among the top 5 U.S. cities on the verge of a housing crisis. And I would say our whole country is actually in an affordability crisis right now when it comes to housing. There are nearly 39 million households who are severely cost burdened in terms of their ability to afford housing. And there are more than 18 million households paying over 50% of their income on their rent or mortgage, and then having to make terrible trade-offs in terms of the other things they have to go without in order to do that. At Habitat for Humanity, we believe that attainable, affordable housing is foundational for all community development. And we know that housing has such a strong correlation on health outcomes, educational outcomes, and livelihoods. So in many ways, it's a prerequisite as well as foundation for the kind of lives that all of us want to be able to lead. The work that goes on this week will go far beyond the families who purchase these homes. We really want to bring a spotlight, and the reason it's so important that President and Mrs. Carter and Garth and Tricia and all our other volunteers is to bring a national and global spotlight to the need for safe, decent, affordable housing. And we hope everyone that reads an article or hears about this or comes out and participates, that this will be a starting point, not an ending point, for them to get engaged and be supporters of better housing policies, as well as coming out and being part of building their communities. It is now my great pleasure to introduce the wonderful Executive Director of Habitat for Humanity of Greater Nashville. Danny Herron has been one of our national superstars in terms of leading Habitat Nashville to be one of the top producing affiliates in the United States. He has huge leadership skills and a gigantic heart for helping others. And I'm going to ask you to join me in overlooking the fact that he refers to Alabama coach Nick Saban as the 13th apostle. At Habitat for Humanity, a central tenet is that we bring people together over some of the biggest divides in the world. And so we will pray for Danny. But seriously, he is a true Nashville treasure. Please welcome Danny Herron.
All right. Thank you, Jonathan. And I do want to thank him, his entire staff. Habitat International is such a wonderful support for the local Nashville, Greater Nashville affiliate. All of Nashville, since we were informed about a year ago that we were to have the opportunity to host this, all of Nashville has stepped up and been so excited to have President Ms. Carter here, and knowing that we really will have in our presence this entire week, two, in my mind, are the greatest humanitarians this country has ever produced. So we are thrilled to have them here. Our Nashvilleian friends, Tricia Yearwood and Garth Brooks, we're thrilled to have them part of this. This is a really important time for Nashville. I am from Nashville originally. We've had, as Jonathan said, we're tremendous growth, but with that, somewhat of a crisis of available affordable housing for the working men and women of our community. The hourly employees that our businesses need, our wonderful new hotels and restaurants need hourly employees, and they need them to live, work, and play near, where they are businesses are. And that availability is shrinking quickly. We have lost 20% of the affordable housing in this community over the last decade because of gentrification. We have had house prices go up 74% in the last decade. The homeowners have not had that kind of increase in their pay. So there's a real divide there. But Nashville's got a history of coming together at the right time, at the right moment, and I believe making the right decisions. And with the leaders here locally, like Tricia and Garth, and with the inspiration that the Carters are providing, I believe this week is going to be a special week for Nashville, where the business leaders and our government officials are going to see what happens when people come together for the good of one another and they do something extraordinary. And that's what's happening. 21 homes are being built, 500 volunteers. It's just an incredible time in Nashville, and I do believe it'll be a pivotal moment in our history when we're going to start really taking focus on making sure that Nashville is a Nashville for all people and not just the wealthy. So thank you for being here today.